Oh boy, another crazy day, another crazy day. It's a Friday, thank God. Hi! So we will find out in a bit if everything that we did works or if we need a new printer. But both printers are acting up. So the Mongoose has been leaking white ink and there's been some ink starvation. I don't know if you can see that right here. Nozzle check. It's not actually the print head that's the problem, I think. It's this thing here, the capping assembly, because I think one of the gears might be worn out. I'm gonna have to open that in a little bit. But for now, we have to get that thing going because we have orders that need to ship out today. Let's make t-shirts. On top of that, the ollie here, yesterday it was leaking out in the back. And so we're having some white issues as well. See, the white is leaking out of the ink tubes. And we did a MacGyver fix for it a couple of weeks ago. You can check that out here on my TikTok. There's like a 3-part mini-series on that, on how we fixed that. But we did get the ink line ordered and it came in after a couple of days, but we haven't had time to really fix it. So we're gonna do that today. So thanks to my friend Chris from Capital Area Science in Austin. He told us to check the dampers and see if, you know, we can fix it that way. Is it still leaking or no? Let's work it out. No more leaks. Okay, so we got that fixed. So all that we did was all of the dampers there, these things that the ink goes into, we got the syringe, put it in the damper like that, and pull the ink through and make sure that all the air bubbles were out or were taken out. And it's tilted this way so that we can suck all the air out. And according to Anne, that fixed it. So I guess we're good with that. All right. Only one way to find out though. So she's gonna start printing with that and we're gonna come back to it in a little bit. For now, we're gonna focus on working on the oddly. Hey, check that out. So there's definitely a leak in there somewhere, and we're gonna find it out today. Oh man. Woo-wee. Don't know if you can see that, but I spliced it from here all the way to here. And looks pretty good on top, but I'm not really sure where the leak's. I don't think the leak's coming from there, Mama. I think it's a different leak. It's just old. The ink line's just super old. And then we're gonna have to figure out which one of these 2 ink lines goes into which part of the manifold, which is your sub tank there. But before we do that, we gotta clean up all of that mess. Good watch. Ooh, look at that. I figured this is gonna take a little bit of time, so I'm gonna do what's called a shoe shine clean, which is just putting a paper towel there. It's supposed to be already soaked, but I wanted to be like super soaked. So I'm putting the cleaner on there. You can pre-soak it before you put it on the printer, but I'm gonna leave the print head on there so that, you know, it doesn't dry up and cause clogs, and hopefully that works. But we got to get back to cleaning. I got to show you this though. Ooh, look at that. It's been so long. That ink already dried up. See that? Which makes it easier to clean, to be honest with you. So the plan is to remove this and then cut off all the ink lines so that we can replace it. We have to remove it because all the ink line goes in here and through that. My biggest worry, well, 2 of them, is number 1, we have to remove this carriage board because all the ink lines go underneath that. So we have to pass it through there. Number 2, we need to cut off the white ink line on the manifold in front. I'm going to show you that in a bit. But for now, we're going to work on this right here. So as you can see, it's the first time that I'm taking this off. See that? That's what we're working with. And it's clamping up all the lines. All right. We got all of these down so that we can get all of these ink lines off like that. Hi. Lord of mercy. Go do DTF. And take these for now. And all right, they're off. One last thing is our whites. I'm gonna have to unplug it. Put this right here. So looking through here, the first line there, our only challenge is these two white lines here. I'm trying to see which one is which, just based on this. So this, the first one, this one here, this is the forward line, and the second one is the return line. Now we need to remove this because all of these ink lines go underneath, and then we have to go to the front and disconnect everything that needs to get disconnected. Scary stuff. And I'm gonna take a picture of where everything is connected, just so I don't forget later. We've got these two that look identical, so I'm gonna label them left and right. And go left and right. There seems to be a leak here as well, so we're gonna have to check that out. This is the return line right here. That's the return line. So I have to cut that. The problem with cutting that is that all the ink that's in here is going to come out. And this one is the forward line. And I'm just going to remove that one. But before we do that, we have to remove this board. So we have to remove all of these cables. I labeled the ribbon cables left upper, right upper, right left upper, and right upper. And that's arbitrary. It's something that I understand. And then once I remove these, I'm going to label the bottom ones. And here we go. Here we go. Fingers crossed. And you got to make sure when you're doing this, you have to make sure that your printer is unplugged. Otherwise, you're going to fry it. Oh, and if you're going to be a DTF printer with a Chinese printer, make sure that you invest in a couple of these containers. They're gonna save your sanity, I promise you. I'm so nervous, it's not even funny. You doing okay there? She taped them all on there. And some of you have done this before, probably like, dude, there's a way easier way to do that. All right, we're taking that off. And there's one more connection there. You can see there, but I think we're gonna be okay. I don't know if I wanna remove that. Oh yeah, I can remove that. This is what controls the whole thing, the carriage board. The ink line that I got has 8 channels, and I was going to remove 2 of them, but somebody in one of the forums said, "What? Don't remove them. Just put them all in there. You have 2 extra channels in there, so that if one of the lines messes up, then you can replace it, not even have to remove the whole thing." So I'm going to go with that. All right, these 4 are going to be for the colors, and these 2 are going to be for whites. All right, we're going to start with the black one. We'll take off, and we're going to put it back in here. Plug this one in, and we're going to lock that in place. And that one, we have to clamp. Tape it.
Not taped and then clamp.
All right, we clamp that one. Same thing. So we currently have black and cyan, but we're gonna do the same thing with yellow and magenta, and you don't need to watch that again and again. So we're gonna get back to you as soon as we're done with this. All right, we're putting them back in. First, that's your black. Magenta was leaking, that's why we have magenta all over the place, but we replaced the magenta and the yellow. So starting with magenta on the right, and then the next one is yellow, and then cyan. Finally, we're gonna put in black. All right, it should be pretty solid. We'll keep it at that. And we'll fix that later, but for now, we're gonna keep them there. Our big challenge is this thing right here, this channel, because when I take this off, all the ink is gonna come out. We are going to remove this whole sub-tank, the manifold. There's that. I'm going to just clamp it in place. So we're gonna put it here. This is making it easy. This thing right here, we're gonna do the same thing. So first, we're going to take off the manifold, or I think that's what they call it. I just call it the sub-tank. There we go. So this one goes to the top so we can seal it. And here's the scary part. This thing right here. Yeah, just flip it like that so it doesn't leak. Oh, here we go. You got it. Ooh, wait, I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna cut it off. That should be good for a little bit. Just give me a few minutes. Okay, we're putting it back in place. We are flipping it over. Woohoo! Bring it back in. Now that we're done with that part, we are going to connect the other side and then put everything back together. Come on now, work with me, work with me. 5, 6. So now we're gonna bring the ink line all the way in and reconnect all of them here. And then we should be. That's it. The whole ink line is out.
Yeah.
So we put it back together. The ink lines are all connected except for the white going back here. We will do that in a bit. For now, you're gonna put this back in here and screw everything up. Well, not screw everything up, but I hope I'm not screwing this up. One last thing right here. Ooh, this one's tough. It's fighting you like that. So just put a little bit of Vaseline there. Just a little bit, not too much. So next thing we're gonna do is we are going to prime the dampers again. And if everything works out well, come here. The white lines here will get some ink. All right, should be good there. Really good. Yeah, that should work. Now we're gonna do the same thing with the color, with the CMYK dampers. Put it back in, right, that's good. All right, this one is your yellow. Like that to pull all the air out. And there we go, should be good. And there you have it. Ooh-wee. Colors are good. So 2 more things. We put the board back in place and then put the ribbon cables back. We will find out in a bit if everything that we did worked or if we need a new printer. Okay, we're gonna start with that. So we just need to cover everything up and lock this in place, and that we should be good to go. In theory, because I don't know if it's gonna work yet. Okay, we're putting it back in place, and hopefully this works. If not, I'm gonna cry. Last one here, and then we can test it out. All right, it's the moment of truth. We're gonna test it now. So my first hope is it doesn't catch on fire, number 1. And then number 2, there's no blue smoke of death or whatever smoke of death. I'm gonna turn it on. And then number 3, it runs. And hopefully number 4, it runs perfect. All right, Mama, we plugged in? All right, we're plugged in. That's the humidifier, by the way. All right, I'm gonna power it up. Initializing. All the lights here seem to be green. What time did we start to decide when you got here? It was 11. Dang, this now what? It is almost 5. All right, we're doing a load and clean, and now we're gonna do a nozzle check. Here we go. All right, as expected, there are some breaks in color, but that's okay. Color was never a problem. Our problem was our white, and you can see right now, but white looks good. So while Anne is fixing that up, I need to do today's shipping, which today there's a lot because we weren't able to ship out some of the stuff from yesterday. All right, we'll ship that out in a little bit. It's now 6:20, so we have a few more minutes. But just an update on this. As you can see, we didn't finish printing it, but it's looking pretty solid. Yeah, but the occlusion that you use on this was settings. Oh, that strong A is our occlusion, which slows it down to about 10 linear feet per hour, and that's because of all the breaks that we have still. So the problem is with cyan and black. That was because of all the dust that came down from the fan here. But we will keep on powering through. Tonight, we still have some orders that we need to ship out. Here's one right here. Man, I'm so tired. I'm complaining, and she's had like a busier day. She's like, man, I'm so tired. She's like, so this is one of the orders on top of the other ones, and we have a few more. We're playing catch up right now. We'll bring all of these to UPS, and then Anne here's gonna keep on working. You're gonna keep on working on that thing, right? Goodness. The fun never stops.